it's not much to add to what I said after the game. We watch the film and learn from it and try to apply going forward and get better in all areas as coaches and as players executing on the field. So that's our goal with this week's game. So go ahead and give me some questions.
Did the film show anything new that was not immediately apparent?
Not really. It was what I thought, and we missed tackles on defense, and we got a couple times we got shoved out of gaps. And when you do that against a great quarterback, a great running quarterback like that, you're going to pay for it. Offensively, as I said, the turnovers hurt us. They stopped drives where we could have really tightened up the game. So, those were the things that were disappointing.
It seemed like Josh's arm might have been hit on one of those. So that was
the interception into the end zone. His arm, his hand got, or his arm or his elbow. It's hard to tell exactly on film. I didn't watch the TV copy. Got hit as he was releasing it, so the ball kind of fluttered.
So when that happens, you kind of give him a pass on that one.
Well, you don't ever give anyone a pass, including the first person you look at is yourself as a coach, and there's reasons. There's reasons and there's excuses, and that's a reason. So I think you just have to be consistent in how you judge plays, and that you make sure that that everyone understands exactly why things are happening, and that we're not blaming. We understand who's at fault, but we're not blaming anybody. So that's what we try to do.
You come up with any new thoughts about the tackling issue and tackling the tackling issue?
I'll tell you what, it's hard. We work so hard on tackling. I think sometimes, guys get a little anxious, or overreact. And, it's that coaching issue that you face sometimes, well, at times in every year with the particular part of your team that's struggling is how much do you talk about it? Is talking about turnovers on the road a self-fulfilling prophecy? Is talking about tackling, putting in their mind, oh, we can't tackle, or it's a dance that you have to play out and try to figure out it. Every year that I've ever coached, you've come across issues on offense and defense where things aren't happening the way you wanted, and you have to figure out the best way to approach it with your players so you move them through it and get them to a positive place, and it's a challenge.
Jordan lastly had his first sub-100-yard game in a couple of weeks. What did you think Arizona did to kind of neutralize him a little bit?
Well, we overthrew a post when he was wide open, and he had a few drops. So I think more than anything, it was us.
Jalen Starks, did he show that he could be an every down back in that game?
He certainly showed that he can run with power, and gets in the open field. He's difficult to bring down. Unfortunately, he got injured, and so he wasn't able to complete the game. I'd be able to give you a more succinct answer if he'd have been able to finish the game. I think we'd have been able to really, figure that out. It certainly looked, Ben, like that's the way it was headed. So.
Is there anything you can tell us about him?
Not yet. I mean, I'm very hopeful that he'll be back this week, but it's early. It's only been, a day and a half since he did it, and so, I know he's working really hard with athletic trainers to get back. It's important for him to play.
We haven't seen Jalen in a while. Is there any chance that he could be out for the season?
Jalen Phillips? No. Jalen, hopefully he works back into the rotation this week, and hopefully he's well enough to play. He practiced, or he did our run this morning, and he looked good. Just have to make sure that he can move laterally, and so that'll be, a big thing going forward with him this week, and able to, can he move laterally in determining whether or not he'll be available Saturday. We're hopeful, and I know he's really pressing it. Last week he was really pressing it. He wanted to be back in the worst way.
Saw Sonny warm up. Is he 100% cleared to play?
Yes, he's cleared to play. He's not 100%. I don't know that Sonny is going to be 100% this year. He's fighting through things, but he's cleared to play. He gives us that depth, but our offensive line has been playing well. As I'd made that comment to you after the game that it had been 2 sacks and 116. And I went back, and it had actually been 3 sacks and like 170 or something like that. That would have been up to, but that's
3 sacks in 3 games.
Yeah, and like I think 170 attempts was really good, and then the other night 5, and I'm not sure how many attempts, which was you know, as many as we've given up all year. But our offensive line, our backs have been playing well in terms of pass protection. So there's not a need to make a change there at all. There's just a need to continue to build consistency.
On Bowler's 2 long runs in the third quarter that went back-to-back, was that kind of him improvising on the cutback, or was that a designed cutback? Could you take us through those plays?
I mean, you know, there's a design to a play, and then as a defense flows, I mean, if he's, you know, you're not going to tell him just run into red shirts, you know, it's the old Vince Lombardi run to daylight, you know. So once a back gets to the second level, then it's about a back being able to, I mean, if you want to use the word improvise, I'd use the word, you know, recognize and go where the defenders are not. But the start of the run is very planned out, but when a guy gets to second level, then it's innate ability, you know, and recognition and big picture awareness and knowing where blockers are coming from and things like that.
In terms of distance, those were his longest runs so far in the season. Did you also think those were technically his best runs, like in terms of completing his assignment, finding his gap, stuff like that?
They were his most effective runs because he did a great job in the open field, and other guys around him did a great job of blocking and pushing guys past, you know, past his run lane. So probably, yeah. I mean, if you look at it that way, I mean, they were his most productive runs. So I guess they were his best runs. You know, I mean, they were good runs.
What's your thoughts on Oregon and the challenges that they present?
Well, they're good, and they, you know, they're a good football team. You know, you watched them versus Stanford, and they did a really nice job moving the football in the first half. I mean, they broke some runs, they had some passes, you know, and you know, we have to we have to plan better and prepare better and play better to stop them. And then defensively, you know, they can create some things up front. You know, they're active. So, you know, everything is a real challenge for us right now. Fortunately, it's a group of people in this building that you know, relish the challenge and are ready to accept the challenge. So it's a good attitude in the building. It's a disappointment, but it's a good attitude, yeah.
What challenges does Royce Freeman present to you guys, especially considering that you're kind of struggling against the run right now?
6 foot, 238, great running back. Can break tackles when he gets in the open field. Can, you know, make you miss or, you know, run away from people. So you know, he's just really, in my opinion, you know, one of the special backs, and he'll play on Sundays and he'll make a big impact.
I know this week is a celebration of Gary Beeben and the 50-year Heisman. Is there any plans for him to talk to the team at all?
No. I'm not really involved in that right now. That's other people planning that. You know, my focus right now is just on our football team. But it's certainly you know, an awesome opportunity to have, you know, Gary, who's right over there, his picture right over there, a Heisman Trophy winner that, you know, our guys see all the time back on campus. And if there's a way to access his expertise and his passion for UCLA and, you know, the things that made him a great player, then we'll certainly do that. But I haven't talked to Gary yet.
On Saturday, you said that you were really encouraged by the practices you guys had during the bye week.
Yeah.
What stood out to you about, or positive about those practices that made you encouraged?
It was not just the bye week, but it was even going into the game last week. Just the energy, the effort, the enthusiasm, the understanding what we were trying to do, the focus by the guys on, you know, getting better at the things that had hurt us, you know, especially defensively, you know, just being very consistent in terms of being where we're supposed to be and tackling, you know, as much as you can tackle during the season. There was just a real concerted effort and a real focus. And then, you know, we went out there on Saturday night, and that first drive, you know, the first 3 plays, guys, you know, got out of their gap or missed tackles. And so when you're teetering on the edge of confidence and something bad happens to you immediately, kind of human nature is to go, here we go again. And so one of the things you have to do a great job of fighting and hopefully you can provide for your players is a sense of hope and confidence, and here's how we get better, and this is the answers, and this is how we're going to fix it, and it's going to take all of us, but we're all going to do it. And then you get some good things happening to you, and you build on it, you know. And so you know, we have to move away from being fragile and move into being confident, and that's difficult. That's one of the great challenges of competitive athletics. It's one of the things I think that keeps a lot of us coming back. You know, I know it keeps me coming back. You know, I love it. I love the challenge of it. If it was easy, I'd probably do something else.